Hello my beautiful people, welcome to your first weekly general of 2022. So many of you have asked for these to come back, so many comments, so many emails, all the rest of it. So here we are, the first one of the new year. I truly hope you love it. I just want to say a massive thank you so much to all of you for all of your support last year and beyond. For those of you that are my ride or dies, I know who you are and you guys know who you are too. I just want to say a huge thank you again and a happy new year to you. So before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So I usually start these with the weekly message. So before I start these readings, I do all of my own personal rituals, etc. And then I will go into my intuition and I will ask what I or everybody needs to see, what everybody needs to know for the week ahead. So the message that I got in terms of the words was cycles within cycles, right? And it's quite a long arc, so you're going to have to stay with me. Now, the first thing that I saw was Jupiter in all of his, wild magnificence and, magnitude as well, right? And what I actually saw was, like the spot on Jupiter that everyone talks about, that's like, that alone is already something ridiculous, like 50 times the size of Earth or something like that. What I saw was that, but it was like a spiral, right? And if you've seen it, it looks kind of like a spiral. And on top of that, what I then saw was a dancer or an ice skater who was spinning, and like when they do those amazing spins. And I got this idea and this energy that it was kind of like a vortex. I was seeing a cycle take place. And then the next thing that I saw was, I've forgotten what they're called. It's like an old Victorian toy where you would spin the thingy. So you'd see a bird in a cage and then you would spin it and then the bird would be free, right, out and flying. That's the message that I got from this whole thing, is that it's cycles within cycles. So at the moment, if you are feeling like you're stood still, if you're feeling like things aren't moving, there's so many delays, there's this, there's that, obviously, at this point, right at the end of this week, Mercury's going to go retrograde in the sign of Aquarius and come back into the sign of Capricorn eventually. On top of that, as if that wasn't enough, obviously Venus is retrograde at the moment. But this feeling that, we're kind of, if you feel like a spinning top, like you're just spinning on one spot at the moment, like you're spinning out, the message really is to slow down, right? Stop doing this, or take a moment to realize that the spins and the cycles that are taking place for you at this moment in time are keeping you where you need to be, right? So this is the thing, like with dancers, for those of you that are dancers among us, this, for ice skaters, etc., you have to spot, right? You've got to make sure that you either keep your eye on something static, or you have a deep connection to your own center so that your head doesn't go into the spin and then you get disorientated. So this week I invite you to dig deep, right? If you're feeling that energy of like, I'm spinning out, nothing's working, everything's delayed, don't get into that, right? Find your own compass, find your own true north, bring it back to the center, bring it back to, bring your focus back in and let everything spin around you, because as soon as you slow down, everything around you might still continue at the same pace, but you'll be able to pick things out a lot easier. All right, so that's the message for this week, right? Whatever cycles within cycles are unfolding, you are stood still. Maybe the universe is holding you in place because there's something that you're not seeing. And if you get into that sort of spin out energy, you're definitely going to miss it. All right, so take the delays and the holdbacks and all the rest of it as there's a reason for this. All right. So for our destiny card, the overarching energy trend or theme for this week, of course, is the Hermit card, right? And this is actually very fitting. Why? Because the Hermit card is a card of slowing down. It's a card of withdrawal. Now, if you've been with me long enough, you know that when the Hermit shows up, I say to everybody, the Hermit is what shows up when the High Priestess, your own intuition, your own psychic awareness, your own gifts, has a message for you, right? So your internal self, your inner world is actually trying to reach out to you at this moment in time. Now, for all of us, this is likely to be a week where we do feel that, right? At the moment, things are slow and there's kind of, you know, lots going on, but this is going to be even more of that. It's going to be like a, you know, you're going to feel that sort of coalesce energy kind of kick in over the course of this week. There is a reason that the Hermit takes the light of the star in his lantern, right? That's following the star of hope, the star of truth, and more importantly, it's following your own inner wisdom and guidance. This is a week to slow down. This is a week to go within. This is a week for us to step back and say, okay, I'm on this journey and I have to see it through, right? Now, the other thing with the Hermit card as well, very often this is, so it can be the difference between being alone and being lonely, right? Self-imposed loneliness is not loneliness. It is self-preservation, right? So there might be an element of that for all of us this week as well. It could also suggest as well that on the wider world stage, a person that is considered wise or older may feature, right? So I've been talking about this for a while now. Without seeing any of the rest of the cards, I can't say what it's likely to be, but it is a very interesting card to have. Also on the wider world stage, we may see some sort of bigger discussion. And I kind of feel like it's almost like there's going to be a bigger discussion of almost like the old school versus the new school. Now, we've got a lot of that going on at the moment anyway. We've had that going on for a while, but I think this week it's going to intensify. And the reason I say that is because the Hermit card tends to represent the older, the wiser, the more traditional of things. But interestingly enough, I feel like this time they actually do have the answers. All right, so this might be a week as well for all of us in some way, shape or form to take it back to basics, strip it down, right? Whatever it is that you're working on, it doesn't need more whistles and bells and to be louder and more fabulous. It just needs to do what it says on the tin. All right, for our direction cards, how do we tap into this? How do we utilize this energy? We've got the 10 of Swords. Let it the fuck go. All right, excuse my language. We've got the Lovers card. All right, very interesting. And then we've got the 5 of Cups, right? So there is definitely an end, a completion, or a culmination taking place over the course of this week. Now, the first thing that I will say to you is I wouldn't be surprised if this week we see either a prominent or a celebrity couple split on the wider world stage. Definitely 10 of Swords with the Lovers card, absolutely, especially with the 5 of Cups. So that's one way that this could play out on that sort of wider world stage energy. When we couple these cards sort of with the Hermit card, so the Hermit with the 10 of Swords, that really is about going within to find out what you need to release. What baggage is it that you're holding on to at the moment that is not doing you any favors? You've got the Lovers card here as well, which suggests this has to be a choice, right? It can't be something that you can't defer to an external circumstance. So it's like, if you want to get rid of something or you want to release something and you know it's going to be hard and you know you're maybe going to be looked at in a certain way, you can't defer and say, oh, well, you know, due to this circumstance or due to this or whatever. Own that choice. That is the best way that you get through this week, especially with the Hermit card there. It's interesting as well that Mercury is going to go retrograde this week in an air sign and come back into an earth sign, because we've got two cards here that are both ruled by Mercury. The Hermit card, which is Virgo, and the Gemini card, which is the Lovers, right? So very, very interesting. And then with that 5 of Cups, this could be the loss of an elderly person. It's very, very possible. I really hope that I'm wrong on this front, but it may be, all right? So, you know, this could be in our personal lives. It could be somebody, I mean, I know we've just had Betty White, you know, who's passed, which I actually think came up in a different reading. I thought it would be somebody else, but it was obviously her. So very, very interesting. So our insight cards, what might we need to sort of know here? We have what's coming up, what's sort of behind the scenes that we're unaware of at the moment. Well, what's behind the scenes that we're unaware of is justice. with the Queen of Swords, so a Libran woman is likely to feature for all of us in some way, shape or form, and then the Two of Cups. Now this is where it gets really interesting, right? The Justice card is very often about balance. The Two of Cups is definitely about partnerships, balance, connections. It's the most harmonious of all of the twos in the tarot as well, very interesting. And then in the center of it, we've got the Queen of Swords, right? This week, whatever it is that you're releasing or letting go, especially if it's a partnership, a connection, a collaboration, a platonic friend, a personal friend, a professional tie, whatever it is that you're releasing this week, that's the right way to go, because some better connection, partnership, collaboration, collaborator is on their way in. That is going to be much more beneficial for us. That is going to be much more helpful, right? But here's the thing that comes with this, right? In the center of these cards, you've got the Queen of Swords, which suggests that you are going to have to fight for it. All right, it's not going to be as easy as just saying, oh, well, you know, that's come to an end now, so I'll go in this direction. You are actually having to show up. You're having to, you know, to do the work. And more importantly, you are having to maybe just maybe you're having to fight for something, especially if there's either a contract involved or some sort of connection like that. This would be a really good week to talk things over. Maybe not necessarily excessively, because obviously remember Mercury is going retrograde this week, but a very interesting set as well. Now, behind the scenes, we have a Libran woman and a Two of Cups. This, especially with the cards that come up there, I do wonder if we are likely to hear of an affair of some sort. It would not surprise me at all. It would not surprise me as well to find out or to hear that someone like, and this could be a week for marriages, partnerships, connections, all of those kinds of things as well. All in all, I think it will be an interesting week, but like I said, this is not a week to spin out, right? Find something to spot so that you can bring your focus into being more aligned. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Happy New Year again. I know this is very late at this point, but you know, there's been a lot going on. So with that said, take care, have a great week. Let me know in the comments what you think. And for those of you that send me messages on Instagram and through email of all of the things that I've predicted coming to pass, I love you guys so much for that, because it kind of shows me that I'm on the right path. So thank you so much. All right, take care, and I'll see you soon.